Hi everybody, I hope you guys are doing okay. This is Grey from GreyDynasty. Welcome to my channel. Today I wanted to talk about a topic that has been simmering quietly within me for about a year. It leans more towards minimalism, so how about we get started?
It keeps on talking. What do I do?
So about a year ago, I started my blog, GreyDynasty.com. And I started to take pictures for my blog because I was featuring fashion and style. But in a way, when you're doing that, you actually put in a position where you're forced to discover your style. Now, I've been into fashion my whole life. I started making designs from when I was the age of 16, and I made quite a number of outfits for myself. So I've always kind of known what I like, and I've always been able to identify what I like and then get on the drawing board. Though it's been years since I did that, but it's a skill you never forget once you pick up. In a sense, I've always kind of known what my style is. I've always kind of understood what my style is. And one thing I know for sure I am not a trendsetter in any way whatsoever. I'm a very late adapter. I actually jump on the bandwagon when everybody else is getting off on the other end. So I'm never in a hurry to get into anything that's trending. So I know I had to actually look into that when I was thinking how to name my blog. Was it going to be a fashion blog or was it going to be a personal style? And I realized being somebody that doesn't really buy into trends, it wasn't going to do much good to go with fashion. But I have to admit I still use the two interchangeably, but I really mean style because I don't work with trends. Well, in any case, during that period, I then had to discover what my style was. I saw a change when I started going out shopping. I was buying specifically what I knew my style was, which was a huge improvement because before having defined that for myself, I'd go out to the store and I'd buy whatever only to wear it one time and never wear it again, or worse yet, not to wear it at all and to just have it hanging in my wardrobe with the price tag on. Where I lived in Belgium, you don't take things back. Well, I don't know. Well, I just never take things back anyway. So starting my blog was a huge step in me kind of starting to buy just the right things for me. And then, some of you might or might not know, I set out for Europe end of 2015. My husband and I, my son, we are going for the holidays, and we were visiting my husband's family in England. And then of course I crossed over to Belgium. Hold on, is this straight? Just give me a second. All right. My family and I set out for Europe. We're going for the Christmas holidays, and on the spur of the moment, I decided to extend my stay. I had just quit the 9 to 5 to kind of find myself, and I had decided at the time I would probably take 3 months off before I get back to work, or I would probably take a year. I really hadn't decided. But I ended up in Belgium, which used to be my home prior to moving to the United States. And while I was there, at the 11th hour, I decided to prolong my stay. So I told my husband and my son. So I ended up staying on. And as you can imagine, I hadn't planned to stay on. So I carried a suitcase with just enough clothing for the month that we expected to stay there. And here I was now, second month, without enough clothes. And long story short, that just led to a spending binge, if I might call it that, just because I needed clothing and I needed a few things. Yeah, I came back to the United States to visit, but having lived in Europe, it's still a little bit hard for me to navigate shopping in the United States. I find that the things available here are very different. Every time I get an opportunity to get back to Europe, I really like to purchase as much as I can because they tend to have much more tailored outfits, which is how I like it. And then as things stand out, I traveled a lot all over Europe for work as well as for leisure. I just found myself in various different European cities, and I was able to pick up Italian suits for my husband, for my son, because we've bought them suits here in America. They don't fit quite the same. They really don't. Winter jackets, they don't fit quite the same. For some reason, things are much more tailored if you buy them in Europe than if you buy them in the United States. And shoes as well. So finding myself in Europe, of course, I wanted to stock up on these things, which didn't quite agree with the minimalism thing I was feeling. I was, beginning of the year, I wanted to just buy what I needed and not necessarily what I wanted or what was trending. But being in Europe for that year resulted in me buying loads of stuff. And at the end of the year, when I was coming back to America, I had accumulated an additional 5 suitcases of clothing. Yeah, I had bought good quality things. I don't know how you don't take advantage of that, and I did. So I came back and I had 5 additional suitcases, and quite frankly, there was nowhere to put them. Next thing I know, I have more clothes than I have room for. And I remember just putting my hands on my hips and thinking, how did it come to this? I definitely was on a minimalist journey, and now I've come back with more stuff than I know what to do with. So I started a bit of research online, how to become a minimalist. I'd been doing that for a year, to be honest. And I remember I kept saying, when I get back home, I'll get my things in order. When I get back home, I'll get my things in order, which is what you do when you're traveling and kind of sort of living out of a suitcase, well, several suitcases for me. But when I got home, I started to Google it seriously, and I started to follow minimalist channels on Instagram just to kind of understand how it works. I found Marie Kondo's book on how to declutter your home, and I tried to use it. I remember coming in and getting all of my clothing and just putting them on the bed, huge pile. I think I took a video clip of it. I'll insert it right here. Huge pile of clothes, and I tried to follow her method of asking yourself, does this bring you joy? Guys, I kid you not, literally everything was, yeah, it brings me joy. And I still remember my husband laughing at me, and at the end of that session I hadn't gotten rid of more than just a handful of things, so I had to put everything right back in the closet. It looked a mess because I had heaps of clothes everywhere. I had these plastic containers full of clothes. I let it lie for about a week or two, and I kept researching more into it, and eventually I think I conceived of an idea. Where did I get it from? Let me think. I don't know, I think I'd been reading about the capsule wardrobe and how to make one, but I just remember this Friday when I went off to Starbucks. I like to do that sometimes if I want to get out, and I spent like 12 hours, and the end result of that was that I just made a list of all the clothing that I need. In a sense, I ended up making my own version of my capsule wardrobe without quite realizing that that's what I was doing. I just remember listing t-shirts. I only need this many sleeveless. I only need this many jeans. I only need this many. I just went over the list. This number of belts, this number of pair of shoes. I didn't need any more than that. And when I came home the next day, I did the same thing again. Brought out all my clothes, put them in a big pile on the bed. And I was able to curate them. Miracle, yeah. I was able to curate them. I was able to say, okay, this goes, this stays, this goes, this stays. What I'm most proud of is that at the end of that session, do you know, I had actually gotten rid of, I'll say, 70 to 80% of my clothing. I managed to actually get rid of it. I filled it up in bags. I think I ended up with 5 or 6 bags. And I remember thinking, some of the things are really good and I probably should sell them and try and get some value out of them. I made an account with Poshmark. You'll find me there, GreyDynasty. But I ended up deciding, you know what, if I keep these things here, I'll probably start opening the bags and pulling out things one at a time, because I found myself, pulling out 1 or 2 things that I thought, I absolutely cannot part with this. And I know the nightmare. I did this when I was moving from Belgium to the United States. I was wrapping up alive, and I got rid of literally all my clothing and everything that I had possessed for a very long time in my life. And there's a skirt that I let go, and I've never gotten over it. So that's been a fear of mine, about getting rid of things, and what if I regret it? What if I need it and I can't find it? But I have decided I don't want to be saddled with things. Well, I've always known this, to be honest. I've always practiced I definitely don't want to be attached, and I don't want things eating up my living space. I don't want things eating up the neatness of my home. I don't want things cluttering my home. I'd rather just use that time wisely. I'd rather spend that time, doing something different, like especially just, I think I'd rather collect moments than collect things. You might have noticed I've done quite a number of lookbooks on my channel. These are all the clothes I was getting rid of. That's why you've gotten quite a number of lookbooks. I don't know that I'll be the lookbook type of person as the channel develops. I might not. But the impetus of doing as many lookbooks as I've done so far was so I could use the clothing and get rid of the clothing, because I intend to keep really few things. I literally intend to have, I don't know, well, let me not put a number on it. I just know that I'm on this journey, I'm in this state of mind where I'll keep reducing what I have and keep buying quality things. As I've been designing my life, I started to wonder, getting rid of so many things, does that make me a minimalist? And I've really researched the topic at length, and I realized there's so many definitions to minimalism, and it's a field that is still developing. It's still in its infancy, so it's got varying definitions and people cannot seem to agree on any one. In a sense, everybody gets to make up their own definition of what their journey will be, and this is mine. Minimalism to me just means living intentionally with just a number of things that I need, and I don't necessarily mean tangible things as much as I mean intangible things as well, a value that cannot really be quantified. I mean minimalism in so many different ways that as we keep developing this channel, we'll probably continue to understand it deeper for myself as well as for you that subscribe to the channel. We will kind of get to a point where we build what this is for us. It seems to be a sticky subject for some people, and we've got people that are very protective about what the journey should be, but I think it's only fair that everybody defines it for themselves, because we are individuals and we're each on different paths, and we'll all get to whatever it is we're aiming for one way or the other. So we should actually give each other the freedom to define our journeys and to walk our paths and to get to the destinations, whatever those might be for each one of us. For my journey, I want to focus on living intentionally minimalistic in terms of the material things I collect, but also in terms of the experiences that I collect, in terms of the clutter I let sit in my head. I want to be the kind of person that doesn't overthink, lives more on the spur of the moment, a person that is more spontaneous and much more joyful in life. So minimalism for me, as much as it's now translating into the physical and the things that I hold and possess, I think I want it to be more of a spiritual journey more than anything else. Growing up in church and then eventually understanding spirituality, it has been a combination that has put me in a position where I understand the parallels of the universe, and I understand that there is more than the life that we see. I'm quite glad that I'm on this journey, and I want to share it just because I know some of you are on this journey as well. And if we could discuss the differences that we're experiencing, if we could discuss how it works for each of us, it's probably going to be beneficial to us. And I've kind of been thinking, how does that work with, if you like nice things? How does that work if you like what most people have learned to call luxury goods? But I think I found a way to reconcile it. In fact, if anything, I think minimalism is not diametrically opposed to enjoying luxury things. If anything, it's complementary, because we often tend to think that the two are mutually exclusive, but they're not. The more you look at it, the more you actually realize that. Juxtaposing that with luxury, because I like good things, and luxury, when I say luxury, I don't mean it in its traditional definition where it actually means designer brands and things like that. For me, luxury good is really just anything that is well made. For instance, I just said I love Italian suits for my boys, for myself as well. When I worked corporate life, I love Italian shoes because they I get good value out of them. I love Italian bags because they're made out of real leather, and they're quite sturdy. They stay for years. So like I was saying, I love things that are well made. I am not necessarily attached to designer anything, and that's because, like I said at the beginning of this video, I made my own clothes. I designed my own clothes when I was much younger. I'd see what I like, I put my twist on it, and I would get on the drawing board, draw the pattern out, design exactly how I wanted it to look like, cut, and stitch it. So I just learned to make good quality clothing by myself, unattached to a designer name or a designer brand, because I just know what suits me, and I know how to make it the way I'd like it to be. So as a result, I am not beholden to designer brands, but neither am I opposed to them. Really, my philosophy is to just buy good quality stuff. If it happens to be a brand name, I wouldn't stay away from it because it's a brand name. I mean, I don't dislike brands. I just don't favor them over any other good quality stuff. If anything, if you look in my closet, majority of my things are actually, well, it's probably equal split. I just don't walk away from a good quality if it's a good quality. The brand name doesn't mean anything to me. Now, if I want to resell my things, it probably would make sense to just stick to designer brands because they do appreciate in value. But quite frankly, I've never bought anything with the intention of reselling it. Maybe I should change that. Maybe it's a smarter move to think in terms of investments and only buy brand design so I can resell them later. But so far, that has not been my strategy at all. I see a good piece. It's not a designer name that is known. Those are the things I like. Those are the things I buy. Those are really the principles upon which I build my life, and now I'm going to be sharing those principles on my channel. I hope you stay on for the journey, and I hope you enjoy the journey. And just understand also that for me, luxury is not necessarily the collection of things as much as it is a collection of experiences. They could be so simplistic, they don't have to cost a penny. For instance, I've been spending a lot of time with my husband since I got back. We go places and we love nature. We go out to the waterfall, we go out to the sea. Even in winter, we love to go out. We've always loved to go out. We'll get in the car and just drive. We could drive for 2 hours, just enjoying nature, get out, take a walk, hike a little bit. Those to me are luxurious experiences that you cannot, put a price on them. They're really priceless. But it is luxury to be able to spend that much time with somebody you love and actually connect on a deeper level and chat for hours on end. So luxury is not, don't think about luxury in the limited sense of just material things, but think about luxury in terms of experiences, gathering luxurious experiences. Share with me in the comment section if you think a minimalistic lifestyle would actually agree with buying of luxury goods. I'll try and do yet another video in this same series. Stay with me to build a life that you've daringly imagined for yourself. It can all be done. One life, you got to live it now. So I hope you like this kind of video. If you do, give it a thumbs up. And please don't forget to subscribe down below and leave me a comment about how you keep your house in order and how do you keep your mind in order. How do you declutter your house and your mind? Because at the end of the day, those two kind of go together. There's a tendency when the house is cluttered, your mind is also cluttered, or when you clear one, then you clear the other. And when your mind is clear, you definitely end up decluttering your home and cleaning up your home. So tell me, let me know how that works for you. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.
Can't make it stop.